Hello, hello, hello. How are you doing today? EDC World, JJ here. John, Jeruzik, whatever you want to call me. Most likely John is fine, or some people like call me JJ because my initials. Anyways, today I have a knife sharpening tips and tricks, also a / review of the KME work sharpener. Now, forewarning you, this is going to be a longer video, okay? If you don't like long videos, just you can click off right now, and you've been forewarned. I'm not going to take offense to it, mostly because I won't know. If you like long videos and you like long how-tos, I don't like really editing my videos, so let's have some fun. The knife that we're going to be sharpening today is that ST128 that I reviewed. Now, a little update on this guy. I actually did get the Sitivian clip in, and it is so much better. So much better. As you could tell, let's see if I can get in focus. I didn't get the recessed screws because the ones that they sent were wrong, but because this is a recessed clip and the holes are recessed, the screws fit in more, so it actually fits in your pants. Take a cloth, actually fits in your pants pretty well, and you don't really get caught the same. About that much sticks up. It's a nice, I did have to shave down a little bit of the side of the Sitivian clip, but that's a different story. Okay, so I have the KME system here. Don't have to get the KME system, but here's the deal. When it comes to sharpening a knife, you want to have the most accurate angle, okay? You want to be able to have an accurate angle of what you're using. Now, have I used other knife sharpening systems? Yes. There was another brand that I did use, very famous one. A lot of people seem to like it. I think it's great if you're just doing a couple little knives here and there. That's the Work Sharp Precision one. I didn't find it as nice or as intuitive as this one. This one comes with nice diamond stones. I will start everything from a 50 grit, which they call the Beast, and I will move all the way up because I want to reprofile this knife a little bit. I'm not 100% sure what the angle of the edge is at. This is a very high flat grind, not the thickest blade, but it's a high flat grind. Now this is D2 steel. D2 steel has a tendency to be a little bit harder to sharpen sometimes. So what are a couple things when you're looking at sharpening a knife you want to look at? You want to see where the blade comes to, okay, where it stops basically. Is there, I don't know all the technical terms sometimes, but you want to see where the blade stops, and you want to see how much of a gap you have. As you can tell, this one goes right up to there. I mean, just for example, you pull out some other knives, you know, you got a little bit of a choil there. I don't know if that will focus. A little bit of a choil. It's the quiet carry. And then other knives, let's see which one. No, not really that one so much. Oh, I know which one does. I mean, this one has a little bit better of a choil. See? So the sharpening edge and where it kind of goes up, which is nice. So you get what I mean. Oh, is there any other knives that I own? This is pretty good too, a pretty good example. See how the choil kind of move, like there's the edge that stops right there and then it goes up. So that's something you want to keep in consideration. Now, like I said before, this is just a $25 knife you can get off of Amazon. I'm not too worried about it. Okay, if I screw something up, it's on me, it's my knife, I really don't care. But that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is to show you some tips and tricks. So some tips you're going to want, or some things you're definitely going to want. Now, whether you do the stones freehand, or you're doing whether you're sharpening the knife freehand on a stone. So say if you have something like this guy, this is a DTM stone where you have a coarse side and a fine side. I always forget which one's which. I think the red was the... Maybe the red's the fine side and the blue's the coarse. Doesn't matter. You have something like this, or where's my other work sharp? I have like one of those like field sharpening work sharp things that actually are pretty nice to have around. Anyways, doesn't matter. If you have something like that, these are, it doesn't matter what you have, these are some things I definitely strongly suggest. Something like blue masking tape, definitely a Sharpie of some sort, okay? And personally, and even if you don't have a huge system, you want a leather strap. I have a nice hard side leather strap that was made for me by a guy at my work. I forgot the name of his company, I apologize. And I have a suede side leather strap. So this actually has some compound on this side and nothing on this side. The hard side doesn't have anything. I don't use the suede as much as others. In this video, we're going to be sticking mostly to all diamond stones. So I have 50, 100, 140, 300, 600, 1500. Now these are diamond film tape. Okay. So what that means is that there's a piece of glass here. There's a piece of glass here, and it has this blue, almost like tape. Now, these only last for so many, but I only use this for like sharpening 1 or 2 knives. So I have a 9 micron, a 6 micron. Then I have a KME 4 micron. And then I have some Gunny Juice. This is in 1 micron. You want to get that mirror edge. Sometimes got to go a little bit more polished. And when I'm talking about a mirror edged, I'm going to go back to this guy. This is the Quiet Carry. Let's see if I can get that. I don't know if you could tell because the knife is kind of shiny on its own. But there is a mirror edge. You could see. Let's see if I can get something with words. Here we go. Something with words. You can... I don't know if you could tell. Let's see if... Yeah, there. See the words? That's basically a mirror polish, okay? So I strongly suggest, like I said, the tape and stuff like that. I also suggest a good microfiber cloth. There's a couple different brands I really like using. One of them is Mighty Hanks. She's a really nice person. Forgot where she's from. I usually carry, that's her logo, Mighty Hanks. I have just a paisley one. It's a microfiber cloth. I carry one in my back pocket. I have the gentleman's plaid right now, which is like a red plaid in my back pocket. But I also have some fun ones, as you could see. I have a Star Wars one that has definitely seen some better days because I use these things and abuse these things, and they hold up. That's why I strongly suggest them. I feel like a lot of people suggest stuff that they don't really use to their full potential. And this thing has seen its full potential. And I still use it, and I still love it. I suggest a microfiber cloth because microfiber will not leave residues. So Sharpie, tape, microfiber, maybe some paper towels for your hands. Now, as far as oils, I don't know why I got a cup here. As far as oils, I do suggest oils for the stones. I have some just basic honing oil, which this is the same stuff as this Dan's honing oil, which is you can get from KME. This was just a little sample thing that they gave, and I still got a little bit left. But if you don't have the time and money for something along those lines, you can go to Home Depot, get cutting board oil. This is a odorless food grade mineral oil. Okay? This will be perfectly fine for putting it on your stones, for oiling your blades. You get this big thing, which is a good size. I mean, remember how big I talked about that knife? I mean, that's a good size. You know what I mean? So, if you don't have the money for the other stuff, which I'm not saying it's wicked expensive, but this is definitely a good brand or a good bargain. Okay. First thing we're going to do is we're going to start taping up our knife. Okay. I'm going to move the KME system out of the way because I want to show you how I'm going to tape up the knife. I'm trying to get the good light in here so you guys could see what I'm doing. Like I said, this is going to be a long video. First thing I would always suggest, tape around your thumb studs and around this area, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in right where the edge stops. Obviously, may just come straight up like this. And the reason why is I made the stupid mistake of basically, long story short, I owned a Malibu knife. I owned a couple of them. Sold both of them because, honestly, I'm not the biggest flipper guy, and the button lock's fun and all, but when it comes down to actually doing work, hi Spider-Man, hi Batman, when it comes to actually doing work, it doesn't really matter what kind of lock you have. You want something that's going to be durable and that's going to last you. Okay? So, as you can see, I'm getting around. But anyways, the whole point of that saying that is that I did not do this, and I accidentally nicked the inside right here. And luckily, I was able to still sell the first one I had because the guy was like, I don't care, give me a better deal on it because you nicked it. And I'm like, yeah, but it's got a better edge because, I'm sorry, ProTech, you need to work on your edges. I don't know if they'll ever see this or if they even care. Let's just say, even though this is not a ProTech, from here to here was a 20 degree. From here to here was like a 25, and from here to here was a 30. Absolutely terrible. I ended up having to shave the whole thing down to 20 degrees. Now, why do I do 20? Personally, I think anywhere from 17 to 25 is a good edge. It's a good slicey edge. And what does that mean? Let me get a notebook out and I will show you what I mean. But I'm going to first get this thing all nicely taped up. Okay, so now I know that this area is protected. Now, something that I like doing, you don't have to do it, but especially if you're going to be an amateur sharpener or sometimes with certain systems like this, and I've had it happen with other systems that are similar to this, you could get scuffs on the blade. So what I'm going to do is, and like I said, this is a longer video. I'm showing you step by step how I sharpen a blade. I'm going to get I know my hands are in the way, but I need to see what I'm doing. I'm going to get as close as I can to the edge without going over the edge, okay? And I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to lay it down just right on the edge. Now you wonder what's going to happen when I'm here. It doesn't have to be pretty, okay? I'm going to just rip this a little bit on the back side so I could fold it over. Just see, I ripped it a little bit on the back side. I'm pushing it down. I'm going to take this and I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to pull this to the other side, just like that, and then I'm going to stick it to itself. That way I have a place to grab onto to take off the tape, okay? There's a dual function and purpose with doing this. One, you're exposing just the blade, so you don't have to worry about scratching up the blade. It happens. You're going to be an amateur, or if you're going to be like me, you have a system, sometimes scratches happen. Also, in the clamp, it actually helps clamp a little bit better. So I will make sure I get a nice piece over the spine of the knife. Make sure it's all held in place nicely. Okay. Now I gotta do the other side. Okay. Now I know there's tons of people who do sharpening videos online. I'm not saying I'm better or worse than them on the crowd, but they make it seem so easy. You know, they have these stones, they have these wet. Oh, you just do this and you get this perfect edge. And it's like, I've done the whole freehand thing. It's not easy. Trust me, it's an art form. And would you call me cheating for using this? I don't know. Depends. It depends on how you feel about me using a system versus not using a system. Am I getting an accurate, good edge that lasts and seems to last longer? And am I getting the proper bevels and everything else that I need to get? Yes, I am. So if I can work smarter and not harder, why wouldn't I do that? Right? Let's see. Why would you put a little dinky piece? Because I don't like to waste tape. I mean, there's no reason to waste it. It's going to be a pain in the butt to get off a little bit later, but you know what? I don't care. And you shouldn't either, because you know why? You're not the one that has to take it apart. I am. Okay. My knife edge is nice and taped up. Except for the actual cutting edge, the whole blade and area right here are nice and taped and good for ready to go. Okay. Let's give you guys a little 101 on sharpening. Hopefully we can make this quick and fast because I don't want to bore you guys. Ooh, my other Mighty Hank. Found my other one. Sorry about the sniffling. Nothing personal, just my Tourette's. You don't know what Tourette's are? They can be anything from a certain tic all the way up to shouting and screaming. My dad has it. I have it. Gives you obsessive compulsiveness as well. That's why I'm so good at sharpening knives. No, I'm not the best at it. I just really like doing it, and I have a lot of fun doing it. I'm just grabbing a pen. Refined pen. Not my favorite pen, but it is a good pen. Okay. So what do I mean by different angles? So you have, I'm just drawing, I'm not exactly. So you have a 30 degree. Maybe you have something like this, which is a 25 degree. And then you have something like this, which might be more like a 20 degree. I'm trying to make them look drastic. Under the microscope, it's maybe not as drastic. What it means is that when you're 30 degrees from here to here is an angle. If you're to take, going back to math class, you have 30 degrees, okay? Same thing here. You make an XY plane, 25 degrees. Same thing here, bring it down, blah, 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 20 degrees. I find I get my best edges, my sliciest edges between 17 and 22 degrees, okay? So I go up to 25 if need be, but I usually try to keep it around 17 to 22 if I can. If I can't, so be it. We learn. We could move on. Sometimes if you're at 30 degrees, it's easier to first move to a 25, use your knife for a little bit, then move from the 25 down to a 20, if you want to do that. You could jump from a 30 to a 20, but it takes a lot longer. Okay? Now, what it is when you hear somebody say, oh yeah, a 60 degree bevel, they're adding up both sides, or a 50 degree bevel, or a 40 degree bevel, okay? They're adding up both sides, so they're taking this 20 degrees and this 20 degrees. So a 25, a 30, 25, or 20 degree edge is only one edge of the blade. So what we have to do is we have to take this edge, okay? So whatever this edge is, I'll show you how we find out the actual degrees. Okay. So I'm purposely making it look like this because this has happened to me, where one side is more drastic. So let's say this is maybe like a 20, well, let's just take 25 degree edge, okay? And let's say because we have this roundness, or maybe it's more drastic, let's say this is an actual 27 degree edge, okay? I know it doesn't seem like a lot, but this will make a difference. This is why I use a knife sharpening system. I get exact consistent edges, okay? So I have to then knock this down to a 25-degree edge, which would be like right here, okay? And that way these add up. So I'm literally creating an X at the top. Now what it means to get a burr, so I'm going to say, oh, I have a burr. What it means is that as, let's say the knife is laying like this, okay? So if the knife blade's laying like this, and I'm sharpening the top here, I'm going to get a burr on the bottom side. And if I was to look down the blade of the knife, what it means is that this is exactly what it means to get a burr. It means that this side's at 25 degrees, this side's at 25 degrees, and now I have excess metal at the top here, and it's going to push over like this, or I'm going to be sharp. So if I'm sharpening this side, right? So if I sharpen this side, okay, that means the burr, so this is the burr, is being pushed over here. Then I have to come to this side. So this is number 1, so you follow along. This is number 2. Okay? Then I have to come to this side and start hitting this with the diamond stone, taking this burr, and I'm as well knocking it off. I'm knocking off some of it, but I'm also pushing it back to this side a little bit. Okay? Now, we're 20 minutes into this and I haven't sharpened a damn knife yet. I'm sorry. The point of my channel is sometimes is not only to show you guys cool things, but it's to educate you. Because here's the thing. I have 4 boys, okay? If they decide to have kids in the future and this YouTube video is still up and my great-great-grandkids are like, oh, look at, great-granddaddy, whatever, John, they can come back and look at this video and be like, oh, that's how we sharpen a knife. But we're all beginners at one point, okay? We all need to understand it. So I'm sorry if I'm talking so long. I'm sorry if we're 20 minutes into this and you're bored out of your mind. You know what? This is the information that some people need to know and some people need to understand, okay? So with the KME system here, I'm not going to get too technical into it. You have a clamp that clamps everything down. You have a piece which, if you push it out, this part pushes out, and that's how this clamp opens up. So what I do is I push it out with one hand, the clamp will open up, and I'll put the knife in, okay? So I'm going to show you I'm going to show you how I sharpen from the top down, but I need to show you how I do that other stuff. So I'm going to loosen up back here, because the tighter this is back here, so sometimes the easier it is. I actually love this KME system. Took me a little bit to get used to it, but I love it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a flat point of the knife. Now I'm not going to go all the way in either. I don't know if you can see that. See where the black rubber is? Where are my tweezers at? I have tweezers. I don't know where they are. I'm not going to sit here and start looking for tweezers. I'll just pull out a knife and do it this way, because we're sharpening knives. See where this black rubber piece is? I try to keep the knife, obviously, as much on that black rubber piece. Now I'm going to make sure it's clicked in. I'm going to move this out of the way, obviously. And I am going to start tightening this up. I like to get it tight, so I'm just going to take a couple little turns, and that's tight. Okay? Now, I am purposely going to start way at the bottom. So the bottom of this is about a 17-degree edge. Okay? I'm going to purposely start way at the bottom because we got to find this edge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a black Sharpie. Okay? I'm going to black Sharpie this edge. Yes, I know I'm getting some of the tape. That's fine. When I start sharpening it, the tape that's in the way will move out of the way, okay? I'm not going to go with the heaviest grit. I'm going to go, say, with like a 600. This is a 600 grit fine stone, okay? Don't need the most heaviest thing. Just put it in there, screw it down. I make sure it's flat, screw it down, okay? I'm not going to put on the oil yet, mostly because I have these pre-oiled, but I'm just trying to find the edge. So if I do a 17, okay, and I just go up nice and gentle. Now I'm going to try to get as best as I see how it's only hitting. Come on. See if I can get a little more light on it. See how there's still a bunch of black Sharpie there and it's only hitting the back? That means I'm at too flat of an angle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to 20 degrees, where this is saying I'm at 20 degrees, okay? And now I'm going to do it again. So I'm going to take the black Sharpie and do it again. I'm purposely doing this because I want to show you guys. Okay? If you notice, that looks a lot better. I don't know if you can see how there's more shine, but there's still a bunch of black Sharpie on this edge right here, okay? So I'm going to go up to 25 degrees. So this is roughly 25 degrees, okay? Take the black Sharpie, I'm going to blacken my area again. Let's see. Did I get it? As you can see, I now have an entire shiny edge. So that means I'm hitting where the bevel starts and where the bevel ends. So basically the edge. So I know that this knife is at a 25 degrees. Now I'm going to check the rest of the knife because even though that's at 25 degrees right there, sometimes the rest of the knife may not be at 25 degrees. In that case, I can either... So see? Okay, I'm going to wipe this off a little bit. So this, I still have black Sharpie right at the edge. No black Sharpie, no black Sharpie. A little bit right here at the very, very edge and a little bit at the tip. And I know you guys can completely see that. So let's stop moving this damn thing. Sorry, that's me. So I still got some black Sharpie there. Nothing, nothing, nothing. A little bit on the very edge, a little bit on the very edge, and then some on the tip. Okay, so that means I have a roughly 25 degree edge. It's not perfect, but I'm going to make it all 25 degrees. Now, you're kind of wondering at this point, how do you know it's 25 degrees? How do you know this thing's accurate? Well, believe it or not, this thing's actually a lot more accurate than you realize. I'm going to take a little bit of oil, just going to put a few dots on, okay? I like to make sure my stuff is oiled. I'm going to rub it in with my finger, just gently rub it in, okay? There we go. Now, I'm going to show you how I know this is at 25 degrees. I'm going to put this right on here, okay? I'm going to put the stopper down so it doesn't move. Okay? There. This is a protractor. This protractor is showing, which you cannot see. I'm going to line up this red line to 25 degrees. Okay, that's 25 degrees. Come on, focus. That's 25 degrees right there. Okay? Now look at this. This is how accurate this system is. See the white line? The white line and the red line are matching up, indicating that this is actually at 25 degrees. They're not lying when they say that's at 25 degrees. I'm opening a can of Coke because I love my Coca-Cola. So that being at 25 degrees, actually a pretty big deal. And the reason why I say that is that the other set system that I have used was not as accurate as that. I thought I was at 17 degrees and I realized I wasn't. Now, what do you see I'm doing here? I'm going to my maximum point and I'm setting this little set pin. Okay? Wow. Okay. Some people have different methods that they use. I tend to use a little bit of a combination of a saw, a little bit of combination of a push. But I'm kind of using a swipe saw motion. And then I'm actually turning this with this hand as I'm moving back and forth. And that's why I love something like this. Now see how I'm like right in here? I'm going back and forth. I'm not damaging that at all in here. This little bit. I'm not damaging it. The knife is perfectly fine. Now you ask me, well, how do you know when you're ready to turn it over? How do you know when you're ready? Should you do so many passes? I'm not gonna lie, a lot of it is by feel. You may want to do a similar amount on each side, but here's the thing. So I'm going to feel right now. So no burr, no burr, no burr, no burr. Oh, slight burr, slight burr. So there's only a slight burr right in the middle here, okay? That means that this side could not be the same. This is a 50 grit. This is pretty powerful. I'm not having to push and dig in either. This is a pretty powerful stone. And for me to not get an edge right away with it, it means that my two edges were ground different. So remember how I showed you in that diagram where I had the one that was like a 25 and the other one was kind of like wonked out a little bit? That's basically what's exactly happening here. So this is what I do. I'm going to stay on the 50. I'm not going to move away from the 50. I'm going to push it in. I'm going to flip it around. And now I'm going to work on the other side. So you can actually see there's a little excess shiny point. That's the burr. That is physically the burr. I don't think I can get this close enough. But see that really shiny little bit at the edge? That is the burr. That's the only burr that I'm getting. Now, I will also say, I've noticed the more drastic of an angle, so say if I was to go to like a 30-degree angle, or, something more drastic, 30, maybe, even if I was wanting to go to 40, which this thing will not go to 40, but if I go to a 30-degree angle, I feel like I get less burr than if I'm at a 20 or something of that nature, okay? Would I love for this knife to be at 20 degrees? Yes, but we don't have the time for that unless you want to watch a 2-hour-long video on YouTube. Okay, so now that I've gotten this down, I'm feeling a burr here. I'm definitely feeling a burr here, right where we had the burr before. I'm feeling a burr now here, and nothing's still up here, which is fine. So that means I just have to give this area a little bit more love. Now here's the thing. I will not move up to the next stone until I have a good burr on both sides. So that's actually, I'm starting to get a burr here. That's good. I got a burr here. I got a very aggressive burr here, which means that these angles are really good. And I got a slight burr here. So maybe I could focus a little bit more right on the edge. better. So I'm still going to keep on the 50, and I'm going to move right back around. I will take this off and on. I don't care. So as you can see all that really shiny? That's the burr, okay? And as you can see, I got a good amount of burr on there. But I want to make sure we're good to go. So I'm just going to go back. Oops. I'm going to hit right here where I wasn't really getting that big of burr. I'll go back here and hit it again. Now, some people say you shouldn't do this. Some people say you should just do this. The thing is, though, is that I've seen what people consider world-class chefs, and they will go back and forth like this. The thing is, though, is I'm keeping consistent pattern. I'm not going like this, like this, like this, like this. I'm keeping a consistent pattern. And I'm actually going heavier, lighter. I don't know if see if you can hear the difference. Very subtle, but there is a difference. See how the burr is? Beautiful. Burr, burr, burr. Burr all the way. Let's see how it is down here. Burr. Okay. In theory, I could move to the next stone, but I'm not doing that yet. The thing is, though, is that this is your working stone. This is the stone. You're going to get your edge right. You're going to get the proper angle. So I'm going to get this burr back over. And I'm going to make sure we're good all the way. Because you know what? It may take an extra 5 minutes. But you're sharpening a knife. This is beautiful. This is cathartic. You're literally just sitting here. You're just, like, I had a really bad day at work today. You know, my kids had a really bad day at school, which I'm very unhappy about how bad of a day that they had at school. Well, my oldest did. And, you know, I don't know if you're a parent out there. I got 4 boys. And, man, you take on a lot of burden when you're a parent. And I don't mean burden as in, like, oh, they're such a burden with kids. I mean burden as in, like, you have to be strong for them. If they're having a bad day, if they're having a rough day, you have to be strong for them. And that's what we call love, you know? Love isn't just all butterflies. It's about being strong for them. Okay, this is giving me great edge, great burr. Now I'm going to take off the 50. And now I'm going to basically progress up the line. I'm going to go to now a 140. And what am I going to do? I'm going to oil my 140. I'm sorry, my 100. This is the 100. And I'll tell you, it's 100 grit. This KME system that came with all the stones and stuff, was it a little bit pricier out of my pocket? Yes. But does it last, and is it sturdy, and is it strong? Yes. I've gotten way better edges. I've gotten way better mirror edges with this system than with anything else. Now, a lot of this is you're taking off the burr now. You're developed your edge with the 50 grit. This is really almost like a fine-tuning, a polishing, a taking off every little bit that you have. So some people say, well, you should do 10 passes. 1, 2. No, just do it by feel. If you feel like you need to give it a little bit extra love, give it a little bit extra love. I don't know if you could see it. Let me see if I could bring this in closer. I don't know if this will zoom in. Let me see if I can get my light. See that edge? That's a very, very rough edge, but it like has all these jagged lines to it. That's a great sign. I'm getting consistency. That's a big thing, consistency. I have a lot of respect for guys who sharpen knives with, who can freehand sharpen knives, because that is one of my biggest issues, is that I cannot keep the right angle. And I know there's other little systems out there and stuff like that that can help you try to keep the consistent angle, but I cannot do it. Okay, so right here I don't have my burr. It's still there, but it's not great. Oh, there it is. Okay, just seeing a little bit extra love. So I'm just going to do a couple little passes, and now we're going to move to the other side. Now with each stone, I'm going to do it once on one side and then once on the other, and then I'm going to move on to the next stone. Now here's a big thing. When I get to the tip, I'm not going like this. I'm not going like this. I'm going like this. Going straight off. Okay? About 41 minutes into this, guys. If you're still here, I thank you and I applaud you. And you are excellent. This is something that I do almost every night, whether it's my knife, whether it's people at my work's knives, whether I need to touch up steak knives. I do this with all different kinds of knives, and I love doing it. It is so much fun. It just lets me release everything from my day. Okay, let's see. Oh, yeah. That burr is nice. And on top of that, the burr is getting smaller and smaller, okay? Now we're going to move up to the 140 grit. I misspoke earlier and said 100. Or said 140. Now I'm moving on to the 140. It's right here. And put a little bit of oil on. You're wondering, why am I oiling the stone? I got oil on the knife. Well, I want the oil on the stone to really be there. Every once in a while, I will take my microfiber cloth and I will give it a little wipe. And that's the thing. The microfiber will not ruin anything. Okay? Won't ruin that edge. Won't ruin that bevel. Won't ruin anything. These are 4-inch stones. Let's get to the other side. Okay? Let's move on. Now with each stone, we're really just fine-tuning. I should have showed you that edge before I hit it with this 140, because it was, you could really see that lines on it. And when I start hitting with the 140, it starts getting really nice and fine, and it really starts getting to be that nice edge that we all want to see. Now, if you're also asking me, like, well, why are you using diamond stones instead of ceramic stones? I do have ceramic stones, but here's the thing. If you want that polished edge, if you want that mirror polish, you got to use diamond stones. Diamond stones will get you that mirror polished edge. Ceramic give you a little bit more of a dull edge, which, hey, if you're into that, that's great. But here's the thing. Something like D2, where it is a hard tool steel, the diamond stones seem to work better. Yeah, the edge is becoming, that burr is becoming less and less and finer. So that's good. That means I'm working off that burr while still refining my edge. Basically, after I get to the 1500, which you will, even with the micron tape, you will still take off material. But at the 1500, I basically want little to no burr. I mean, I'm still going to have burr. There still will be burr there. But if I'm properly taking off the burr of the knife right now, I'm not going to have to worry about it as much after the 1500 is done. So what are the rule of thumbs for when should you do what? Well, this knife has never been sharpened before. It came from the factory like this, and I've never been 100% happy with the edge. It's a $25 knife. I'm not going to sit here and be like, it needs to have the perfect edge. But here's the thing. Don't do this with any knife that you haven't owned for more than 30 days or that you're unsure if you want to still own it. The reason why I say that is when you sharpen a knife, most places have a 30-day return policy. They will not take it back after you sharpen it. I am now moving up to a 300 grit. So this is just a regular coarse stone, they call it. After 30 days, a lot of times, most places will not take the knife back. So if you're planning on keeping the knife, and you get, let's say you get that knife, and you're like, this is the best knife I've ever had. I love this knife. I'm never going to return it. Or if you're like, yeah, this is a great knife. I want to add to my collection. Maybe use it here or there, you know. And you're like, oh, let me get the edge that I want on it. And that's what this is. This is kind of like it was a $25 knife. It's kind of an experiment for me because I wanted to try to modifications, you know, doing different things, and you know, the pocket clip, you know, getting the edge right, stuff like that. I'm not too worried about that. I'm not too worried about a $25 knife. Not planning on returning it. If I need to sell it, you know what? Somebody's getting a way better edge than what it came with from the factory. Personally speaking, I don't know why. Okay, I do know why, because not everybody knows how to properly sharpen a knife, but I don't understand why everyone has such a big deal. If you're selling a knife used on the secondary market, right? And you sharpen it to a really nice edge, a proper edge, and it's not all mangled and messed up, I don't see how that doesn't really add to the value, but that's just me. If you have a difference of opinion that it should have the factory edge when you get a knife, leave a comment down below. I can understand maybe if you're spending $400, $500, $600 on a knife, you want a knife that's been untouched. You know, I get that. But if I'm buying, let's say $25 up to a $200, $300 knife, I know for a fact that they don't always come with the best edges on them. I mean, look at the example I gave earlier of the ProTech, of how bad that edge was. It was just terrible. And the second one I got was almost just as bad. And other people I have seen either on YouTube or in different forums have also complained about that edge. Well, if I'm getting that edge to a nice 20 degrees all the way around, which honestly, that knife is not a slicing knife because it's so fat. It's such a thick blade. But if I'm getting that to a nice 20-degree edge and it's nice and slicey and it's now cutting through everything that it needs to cut through, then kudos. You know, why not give the person credit for getting that knife to where it should be? Okay. Now, I know you don't see what I see, and you're like, why is you spending so long on one side when you already got the burr over to the other side? Well, it's not just that. Sometimes you're looking at the actual edge of the blade, and you know those lines I was talking about? Let me see. Here's my book. Let's go back. I have oil all over my hands, so don't expect anything special. Okay? So, say this is the knife blade, okay? And you're having everything look like this on one side. So we're talking about this side. So everything's going to look like this. The tip of the knife is going to be over here. This is the tip, okay? This is the rest of the knife blade. It's very bad drawing. I'm not sitting here trying to be an artist. But you have these lines that you're making in the metal like this. Okay? They're very pronounced. Well, the more and more I use something like this, the more they start getting less pronounced, the more it starts getting nice and uniform. And then when I move up to a 600, and then I move up to 1,000, then I move up to a 1,500, that's how you're going to get a mirrored edge. That's how you're going to get a sharp knife. You're starting off with the very coarse 50 grit like this. You're moving on to the 100 grit like this. You're moving on to, and so on and so forth. Okay? That's what I'm doing too. Not just looking at the burr. You got to also look at what you're doing. Burrs moved over to the other side. Going from the 300, now we're going to go back to the 600. Back to where we started. Now, in my opinion, a 600 is a coarse enough stone. It's a coarse enough stone to find your edge, but it's not so coarse that you're going to ruin anything. Okay? But now we're going to get to the fine tuning. Okay, so what are some rule of thumbs with when do you sharpen, when do you go, when do you do what, okay? So what I do is, if I have a knife that, like I went to work today, I work in a machine shop. I know I brought this knife out about 50 million times already. I used this knife today, okay? Now, I know it's still a fairly good edge. It's still really sharp. All I'm going to do is, the first thing I'm going to do is, with a knife that's already sharpened, I'm going to leather strop it. I'm going to just take it at the proper angle. Okay? And take it at the proper angle. So look at that mirror. That's what happens when you leather strop. Just getting that mirror back to where it is. Okay? And if I take a piece of paper, I know it's a little skinny piece, and then I can still do this with the entire edge, then I know I'm good. Okay? If the leather stropping helps and I don't have to do anything else, then I'm done. But let's say, oh, the leather stropping didn't help. Now what? Well, now I will move on to the 600. I will go to a 600 grit, and then I will make sure I know my edge, because I always try to write down what edges I have for my knives, okay? And I will, at the end of this, I will write this down in a book. But I will show you, I will have the proper edge, and I will hit it with the 600 for a little bit, and I will see if I get that burr, and I'll hit the other side, and I'll see if I get that burr, and if I get that burr, I get it at the 600, sweet. Then I move on to the 1500, and then I go on to the films, and then I go back onto the stropping with the compounds in them, and then I do the final leather strop at the end. Even though these two are leather strops over here, they have leather strops with compound. Even though I will leather, but let's say I get to that 600, and it's CPM 20 CV, which is a very hard metal to sharpen. Very hard metal to sharpen. I don't actually love 20 CV metal, and I know that sounds blasphemous, but coming from somebody who likes to sharpen knives and who likes to maintain their edges and work on knives, 20 CV is actually not the easiest to work with. It's a beating. that you may have to start at 100 grit even. You know, you got to play it by ear, obviously, but you may have to start that one at a much lower grit because it is just not giving you the burr that you need. Because if you're not getting a burr, you're not going to get a sharp edge. And if your edge is suffering or having issues, you're not going to get a sharp edge. Okay? If you're still here, I thank you. So, if you already sharpened the knife, so if you've never sharpened the knife in its factory edge, I go ahead and I go for the full gusto. I start at the 50 grit and I move all the way up until I get that nice fine edge. Okay. If I already did sharpen the knife once before, I will then start with stropping, depending on what I did throughout the day. Mostly cutting up some cardboard or paper, or just cutting through some minor rope, or helping out around the house with just like minor things around the house that I need a knife for. Stropping typically should be all I need. I'm at the 1500 grit, by the way. Okay. Now, when it comes to the microns, I don't know the grits very well, so don't ask me. You could start seeing how there's a polished edge starting just at the 1500. Just at the 1500. But so like I said, if I am doing just basic stuff, nothing too over the top, I'm not really cutting through heavy things. Maybe I cut open a few packages for food, because like I had burgers and dogs the other night, and the hot dogs come in like this vacuum seal type thing, you know, and I had to cut open the hot dog buns, or hot dogs in the vacuum seal. So I used my knife, and it doesn't really put a lot of damage on the blade, but you know, you're still using it. You still want to maintain it. So I will come down here at the end of the day and I will just strop it for just a few minutes. Nothing major. Not even that long. Just a few minutes. Sweet. 1500 is done. That is great. Now, like I said, these films, these are pretty much brand new. I only used them once. You get about 7 to 10, depending on how much burr you have on your knife. But so with certain diamond stones, they say they want them wet with water. Some say that you could do them dry, and some say they want them wet with oil. Now for me, these stones, they say I could do any of the three. I find the oil works the best. Okay? That's just me. Doesn't have to be you. You could do it dry. I've done some dry. I didn't like it as much, so that's why I started using the oil. I don't care for the water. I think water kind of just dries up. The oil really kind of nicely penetrates. When it comes to the films, this is like stropping. You are not going to go up. You are not going to go against the blade. You are just going to cut it up. So this is strictly down. Just like this. Just down. Now what I like to do is I try to go, because I was going like this when I was doing the up. So I try to do down like this. Okay? Because when I was going up with the stone, I was coming down with the stone like this. So now with this, where I can only go down, I'm going to go follow those lines. I'm going to go down. Now over here, it's not as easy because you're at the edge. But I'm going to follow the lines and I'm going to go down. Okay? And I'm going to get it to a good point. I'm going to flip it over. Do the same thing. I'm going to start the tip. I'm going to go down. Down only. With the films, with the stropping, got to keep that in mind. Down only. And you could technically do all this even freehand. Like if you're to get films and want to do this freehand, you could. If you want to get the strops, do it freehand. I actually don't mind doing stropping freehand at the end. Now what I like to do, especially when I'm doing the films, I like to just kind of wipe it off and see where the edge is. I don't know if you could tell. I don't know if it will let you tell. Let's get away from the light. A little bit of light. But that mirror edge is starting. When I hit the 600, and then when I get to the stropping, whew, that mirror polish will come in place. Okay, let's move on to the 600. Now with the 600, now with these, I just kind of like to wipe off any pre-existing dust a little bit from past knives. I try to wipe them down after I use them too. I'm just kind of in the middle of a video, so that's why I didn't do it. But I like to just kind of wipe it down a little bit. Does it wear it out? I don't know. I'm not sitting here worried about that too much. A little paper towel wiping on diamond filament. So now I'm going to move on to this. This is the 600, or 6 micron. I'm sorry, not 600, 6 micron. Now, if you're still getting, see how I'm still getting a little bit of black? That means I actually am still taking off a little bit of metal shavings, okay? That means there still possibly is a little bit of a burr there. Stropping really takes away that burr. The filaments kind of get you to that, kind of take away the roughness, and gets you to that micro polish that everybody really loves to see. We're about an hour into this, and if you are still with me, please, you need to give yourself a pat on the back, buy yourself a piece of candy, go to the bathroom, maybe you have to go pee. But we're almost done, guys, okay? Thank you so much if you spent this long with me. If you're not spent this long with me, obviously you won't be hearing this. So, and you know what? Not everyone can watch this long of a video right up front. There's a lot of information in this video, and I am doing this in real time. No edits, no pausing, no nothing. Okay. Now, from the filaments, you're using a honing oil, okay? In my opinion, this is oil that you use on stones, that you use on the filaments and stuff like that. This isn't what you use on the strops. For the strops, you have that little bit of like a diamond infused thing. You don't need big drops of it. I just did 3 small little drops. I'm going to rub it in. I'm going to do that with the gunny juice. Gunny juice comes out a little bit faster, so I got to be more careful. It's 3 little drops. Let that all soak in. Okay. But the thing is, though, is that I don't want the oils to get into there, so I try to wipe this off as much as I can within reason before I move on to stropping. Okay, so this stuff already soaked in. Oh, yeah. I don't know if you could see it. See that glistening? Will it glisten for me? Come on. Will you glisten? No, it's not glistening. It's glistening in real life. Oh, there it is. See the mirror polish? Told you we'd get there. Why would you do a mirror polish on $25 knife? Well, we have the technology. You can make it bigger, faster, stronger, better. I forgot if it was bigger. Can't remember. So I'm just going to do the one side till I get all the edges. I'll move on to the other side. Woo! This is nice. Wow. I know I'll probably get some flack maybe in the comments that I'm doing it wrong. Maybe I won't. I don't know. I'm doing the same motions I did with the filament. Now I'm going to move on to the gunny juice. I like both Micron oils a lot, or Micron diamond infused specialty oil things. I don't know what you want to call them. I like them both a lot. I like the gunny juice. I like the KME stuff. I recommend either or, whatever you can afford. Don't have to go crazy. You don't need a lot when you do stropping. You don't need any technically when you do stropping. You could even get the green compound stuff and use that if you really wanted to, which some people have, and they get some really good results from the green polish compound. But oop, sorry, I hit the camera. Okay, look at that. Whew. Now, to loosen it up, I take it out, obviously. Okay. Move the KME off to the side. Can you see that edge? Can you feel it? Yeah, I can feel that my KME is falling over. Okay. Let's get this tape off. So now I tell you a funny story, because this is going to be really boring to take all this tape off and to show you on camera how boring it is to take all this tape off. Usually it's not too bad when it comes off. But it won't come off my fingers. Come on. Now notice none of the actual knife is damaged. None of these are damaged. I'm going to have to use a knife to cut off that. Get me started. You son of a gun. Keep this PG channel here. Okay. That's the knife. Let me get a little bit of... I use a little bit of this cleaner. It's actually works really well. Mostly the cleaner is for the blade, just to get off any tape residue that may have been there. Just going to hit it with the strop because I just want to get that final little show of wow. Okay. Let's bring her in. Ooh. Look at, let's see. Look at that edge. Let's get something to read. There's this. Look. You can read every little thing, every little word. See the edge. See how close I can get up. Is it perfect? But you don't want to be 100% flawless because a knife tears through stuff. It's how you get a sharp edge. It tears through stuff. Okay, let's get a piece of paper. Okay. No, that's my kid's art. I can't do that. What do we got here? Sweet. Piece of paper. I'm going to pull out just a little bit. Okay. Now the real test is you got to start from the back and move all the way to the front. Oops, I did that terribly because I was doing it watching the camera. Come on. There we go. That's what I was looking for. I realized I can't look at the camera and cut the paper. I gotta look at the paper and the knife, which... It's sharp. I don't have to. It's sharp. It'll cut through that, no problem. Let's get... piece of cardboard. And with ease. I mean, I won't even hold it. Look at that edge. Well, if you're still here, thank you so much. I hope this was informative. Now we have a knife with a razor sharp edge. My wife hates it when I shave my arm hair, but it is just popping off. Yep, it's literally popping off. That's gross. I'm not going to show you that. Okay. Thank you for watching my sharpening video / kind of review on how to use the KME system. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed seeing how taking this knife from something that is just a basic $25 knife to something that now will surprise people, because when they see that, they go, wow. Take care, guys. Be safe. Stay safe. Be kind. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think down below. Let me know what I can improve. Let me know if you think I did an awesome job or if you hated it. Thanks, guys. Take care.